Hey Jason, you expecting company today?
Yeah, the Speedway guys are bringing by that truck.
Oh, very cool.
Let's go check it out.
Hey guys.
You guys made it.
We did. You know, for being America's oldest speed shop, that sure is one stock truck.
Yeah, that's kind of what we came to talk to you guys about.
What are we talking?
Well, we need to do something that makes it reflect our company a little bit more.
Sure.
What are we thinking?
We're thinking kind of a little bit of everything. Suspension, engine, trans, wheels, tires.
You guys do a chassis, don't you?
We do.
Cool. What kind of time frame are we looking at?
Well, we're out here for a week. Think we can do it in that amount of time?
We can do a week.
I think we can do it.
What do you say we get in that thing and take it for a spin?
Let's see if we can get the keys and go.
All right, let's go.
Who's driving?
I'll drive.
Okay.
Let me get that door for you.
Oh wow, thanks pal.
What do you think?
It's like a time machine.
It's kind of a cool truck.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
Just a lot of work to drive.
It's not something you'd want to drive every day on the freeway in traffic, that kind of thing, but it's pretty cool to see all the stock components working together. How are the brakes?
Brakes?
They slow you down, they don't really stop?
Nah. It will almost pop the wheelie in the granny gear.
It would pull the tree stuff out of the ground.
That's first. There's second. We're in third. It doesn't have much giddy up.
It doesn't have much giddy up, but this thing runs smooth. These little 6 cylinders are literally like a sewing machine.
Well, let's see here. Here's our first turn with a little bit of speed. Look at this thing lean over.
Yeah. Serious slalom. How about I fall off this door? Okay, you're gonna loop it. Don't wreck it before we even started.
Yeah, I think we put a chassis under this thing to an LS.
Yeah, it really needs steering, suspension, brakes. And a little drivetrain conversion.
Week to Wicked to me is taking a stock or restored car or truck and personalizing it. So the previous Week to Wickeds, we did a 67 Chevelle and a 70 C10 and converted the C10 from a 1 ton down to a half ton, and that was kind of cool, made it a short bed. And then the Chevelle, we did all the brake, suspension, steering, and put a big motor in it and had a lot of fun with that too. So Speedway provided everything you needed from start to finish for this build.
We have 5 days to build a car, so we don't have a lot of time to modify stuff. So if a company's product comes in, we can't sit and monkey with it for a day or two to make it fit. It's got to come in, it's got to fit, and we got to move on. So to be able to come in with your product and it fit the first time says a lot for that company's line.
The idea for the truck kind of came about with our 65th anniversary, which we're celebrating in 2017. Looking for something that we could use to help commemorate that anniversary. So 52 model Chevy pickup sounded like a great idea. We've got a lot of parts for these trucks, and we know that they remain kind of a favorite with enthusiasts. There's still a lot of them available. So as a way to showcase our chassis, as a way to kind of do something fun, build something that we can take out and use, take to cruise nights, go to shows in, maybe do a cross-country tour, you know, who knows.
It's just...
Here, I'll shake it down. Okay, we're good? All right, so here we are at the end of day one. We got the old truck taken apart, we got the new chassis put together, we got the cab back on it. What else did we do?
Yeah, we got the steering column in, AC's going in, so the cab should be pretty much complete. We got the bed on, we're checking the running boards. There were some questions about the mounting locations. Think we got that dialed in. I think we're in pretty good shape.
Yep.
We were really fortunate to find a Chevy truck that was one of our company colors, bright yellow. Not only does it stand out, but it's going to represent our company well, we think. Given the time frame of this build, we were fortunate to find one that had already been restored, so we didn't have to worry about paint and body work or rust repair or things like that with this build. Given the week-long time frame, there was no way we were going to be able to do that. We realize a lot of enthusiasts are working on much rougher trucks potentially, or starting with rougher foundations, but I think we're able to show them all the things that they could be doing to theirs, even if they aren't starting with something quite as nice as what we were able to.
Day two, we got the truck up on the lift, finishing up some running board brackets, got the brake pedal in. What else are we doing?
Wrapping up some AC stuff while the cab's on the chassis, then the cab's coming back off the chassis to drill a couple holes for the running board brackets and the body mounts. Cab's coming off, bed's coming off.
Well, I'm gonna give it to Tom. He's gonna go over this front end with us,
Okay.
a little bit of detail. Go from there.
Find out what suspension's on this thing.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, I'm here with Tom from Speedway Motors, and we're going to talk a little bit about their Mustang 2 kit on their 47 through 54 Chevy pickup. Tom, tell us about the crossmember first.
Well, basically, it's a standard Mustang 2. Normally, they're weld-in. The unique thing about this is a complete bolt-in package. The average guy can do it in his garage with just basic hand tools, no welding required.
Which there's going to be a lot of people that are really going to like that. Control arms.
Standard Mustang 2. These are tubular, obviously. They're a little more stylish than the stamped steel.
Give it a fancy look.
Yeah.
Look nice.
Yeah.
The rack and pinion.
Standard Mustang 2. This is a power unit.
Awesome. A little bit about the brakes.
Various packages available. These are our cast iron rotor. It uses the GM calipers. We've got other options as well.
Cool. Well, I look forward to testing it out.
Okay.
I feel like for the second day, we got a lot done today. We're making pretty good progress.
I think we're looking okay.
We had the entire wiring harness for the LS3 kind of laid out. There's probably a dozen or more sensors that need to be all plugged in, crank sensor, cam sensor, stuff like that. All the fuel injectors need to be wired. The coil packs on each side get wired. So all that kind of stuff was done. We also installed separate sensors for the water temp and the oil pressure for the gauges that we're going to be putting in the dash probably tomorrow maybe when we get the wiring. We put a vintage air front runner kit on it. That basically locates your AC compressor, a high amp alternator, and a power steering pump that has an integral reservoir. And that's a single serpentine belt system. It's really compact, really slick. Cleans up the front end real nice, and it puts everything on there that we need.
Yes, we're putting AC, we're using vintage air's kit. The guys from Speedway worked on that today, got the evaporator all installed underneath the dash. Got all the wiring kind of in there, got the hoses ran, so tomorrow we can kind of run, once we get the engine trans and cab back on, we can run the heater hoses in and kind of figure out the condenser and dryer. I finished up the brake lines today, just bending them, flaring a couple more fittings, getting the brake light switch in there and one of the residual valves, let them all out, so that's ready to go.
We had the cab on earlier. Part of having the cab on and taking it off again was to locate a couple
the
things,
pedal.
including the pedal and the master cylinder.
Yeah, that was the only thing I had to do was the master plumbing, because the only way to do that is put the cab on, locate your pedal, pivot point, pull it back off, and then we got that all
Finished
plugged up.
plumbing.
Yep. Ryan started the fuel tank and fuel lines also.
Yeah, we basically just ran a line up from the tank to the fuel pressure regulator, which is also a filter, and then ran a return line, and then just ran a length of hose up that will end up going to the motor once the motor's in place. So
That's
we just
one-
need to finish that up.
That's one easy thing about the LSs from GM is there's no return on the engine side. It's just one feed line into the fuel rail, and you're done.
Right, you run a regulator,
Yep.
and a return line, and then one up to the fuel rail, and you're done. First thing in the morning, what are we doing?
I think we're gonna get that engine and trans in, locate that cross member, drill it,
Start the exhaust,
get
maybe
drive
start
shaft.
wiring the truck, and see where the day takes us.
Yeah, I think we look pretty good.
Damon, we got a transmission out here. We're just about ready to bolt this up to our LS3. What are we looking at?
We're looking at a 4L70E transmission from Performance Automatic.
Okay.
And this one comes with the Street Smart system and their simple shift transmission controller. The nice thing about these transmissions, it's all electronic, so the controller allows you to fine-tune shift points and firmness and all the sorts of adjustments that you used to have to make mechanically.
Right, torque converter lockup and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Speaking of torque converters, what's our stall speed on this guy? And that's included in the unit, right?
Yep, the torque converter came with this and was specified basically for this application.
Okay.
Kind of matched to what they knew we were doing with the engine.
Right, the engine and the power that it's making and the weight of the vehicle and everything.
Exactly, and so this is going to be 3,400 RPM stall speed.
Okay, cool.
So Performance Automatic, when they build these transmissions, they hand select the cores so that they know they're getting something good to start with. This one, before it was finished, got powder coated to our specifications. We wanted it to look kind of clean and nice like the rest of the components that we're putting together on this chassis. All of the internals are upgraded.
So this isn't just a simple rebuilt transmission. This is new components. This is almost essentially a brand new transmission. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it looks like we're about ready to bolt this thing up behind the LS3. What do you say we give it a go?
That sounds good.
Jack it up. I think we're sinking. Stay right there. We're good. There, I'm in. So it's about time we start wiring this pickup. We got Painless's classic Chevy truck wire harness.
That's right. This is a 21 circuit fuse panel. It's designed to run everything from your turn signals, your headlights, your gauges. If you're running an electric fan, it can do that. If you're running AC, it can do that. If you're running a fuel pump, it can do that, electric fuel pump. Headlights, hazard, stop. It's got a horn relay, flashers up here for your turn signals, for your hazards. It's got everything built into this that you're going to need on an old truck.
You even got the hardware so we can bolt that up.
Yeah, a couple holes in the firewall and this will snap right in. You can mount it in your kick panel if you wanted. You can put it really anywhere that you desire.
Looks like we got the connectors and even a wire for the alternator.
Yep, that's a heavy gauge wire for higher amp alternators if you're running a 90 amp, whatever.
What are these?
A couple connectors for the steering column, depending on what column you're using.
Yep.
If you're using a GM column or an aftermarket.
Now this is a big old fuse.
That's your 70 amp fuse. That's going to be your main one coming off your battery. That's going to power basically your whole truck. So yeah, as you can see, it's got pretty much everything you need for a basic wiring job on an old pickup truck.
We'll get this thing started.
Let's throw it in there and go.
The goal is a truck, kind of a company truck, a parts runner truck that anybody could hop in and use. And so that's one of the reasons we went with a Chevy Performance LS drivetrain. It's just kind of that new model reliability of fuel injection and an overdrive transmission, and just something that you can just toss the keys at somebody and not have to tell them about the quirks of the car. Just say, you know, take it and drive it like you would a late model vehicle. Showcasing obviously our front and rear suspension for these trucks.
I'm here with Tom from Speedway Motors, and they brought out this 1947 through 54 Chevy truck chassis. We're going to talk about the rear suspension. Tom, tell us a little bit about it.
It's an adjustable triangulated 4-link. It's a straight bolt-in, uses urethane bushings. It's adjustable so you can change pinion angle and whatnot.
Awesome. And everything's bolt in. This will bolt into a stock chassis also, all these components?
Yes, it will.
So you got your center cross member here, you got your upper mounts here, your lower mounts for the lower bars. Everything's bolt in. The cross member for the coilover's bolt in. I mean,
Yes.
Couldn't get much simpler for the guy that wants to do it in his garage.
No, it's straight, no welding required, and anybody can do it in the garage with basic hand tools.
Awesome. What kind of rear end are we running?
4 9-inch.
Which makes it nice if you want to change any kind of gear or anything. Take that third member out, plop something else back in.
Yeah, it's pretty bulletproof.
Awesome. Brake package.
This is our setup with the emergency brake. We've got several different brake setups available.
Cool. And obviously we're running a coilover setup on this. Obviously you can probably get different size coilovers to raise and lower.
Yeah, you can change ride height that way and change spring rates and even go to single and double adjustable shocks if you want to.
Cool. And then we have a rear cross member that's not in but will go in, and you can do a rear mounted tank also.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to finish this thing up this week and get it out there on the road.
All right, let's go.
Hey, Damon.
Hey.
Well, you gave us 5 days. We're at the end of day 3, and we got some stuff done.
Yeah, the LS3 is in. The Performance Automatic 4L70 is bolted up.
Got the cab back on?
Cab's on. There's a whole bunch of wiring hanging out, and most of that's just what remains to be connected. The fuse panel's installed. The gauges are in, they're wired. All the switches are in and they're wired. The AC unit from Vintage Air is in and it's wired. Bed's going on shortly. Put the front sheet metal on after that. Start the exhaust. So we had a couple little issues. Jason, what were one of the issues we had?
Brake was mounted a little too far forward, so it was hitting the back of the head. That was easy to fix. Oil pan was a little too tall, hit the top of the rack.
That was the GM one.
Yeah, we got a shallower Holly pan. Fits in there real nice.
Yep, now we got a bunch of room, ton of clearance. So that's good. We clearanced the frame rails a little bit for the exhaust on one side and just to give us some room for the steering on this side.
Yeah, we got quite a few things to do, but we definitely got some stuff done in the last 3 days.
It feels like progress.
Yeah, productive progress. It's going back together, it's starting to look like a vehicle again.
That's right.
It's been a rolling bare chassis for 3 days now, so it's promising.
Yes.
I think tomorrow morning we're going to come in here. I'm going to get the steering done. I know Ryan's going to wrap up the wiring, get the front clip back on there, and then we can mount the fuse panel and the computer.
Start working on exhaust, get the bed back on.
Yep. Start buttoning this thing up. Hopefully tomorrow night we'll have this thing almost ready to fire.
Very
so
close.
that way we got Friday to just kind of go through it with a finely detailed comb and get it all ready.
Yep. If anything, it'll look like a full truck by tomorrow evening.
Can't wait to see it.
Well, it's day 4 and we've got off to a pretty good start. I've gotten the steering all installed, had to use a couple joints in the support bearing with the frame being so narrow and the exhaust manifold in the way, but after that, not a problem. I think Ryan's got the wiring going.
Yeah, we got a painless wiring 21 circuit harness going in. We mounted it on the firewall. The guys at Speedway mounted the fuse panel and got us off to a really good start. And I've been kind of helping here and there. We got the gauges wired, the switches wired, finishing up some electrical for the Vintage Air, and then we're coming out to the engine compartment. We're going to wire that all up. So we hope to maybe fire this thing off a little later today.
Yeah.
What are we doing this afternoon?
Well, I think the next step is get this front clip put back on here, bolt that all up, and then you can finish that wiring by mounting the computer and fuse panel.
Yeah, we can get the radiator mounted and get
Absolutely.
some coolant lines done, and this engine compartment will be pretty tidy by the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we can get 90% of the front end done today and get the bed on too.
I agree.
Let's do it.
Do it.
It's about time to cool our 52 Chevy for Week to Wicked. Damon, tell us a little bit about the radiator.
The radiator comes from AFCO. It's built in Indiana. AFCO has decades of experience building racing radiators, actually, and they've got a full line of stuff for vintage vehicles, performance vehicles, you name it. This one is a specific fit application for our truck. It was built specifically for the LS engine. You can do it for a small block Chevy, big block Chevy. If you've got a Ford engine in whatever project you got, they'll build it to that spec too. They basically try and match what they build to the horsepower and application that you're working on.
Right. I see it's all aluminum.
All aluminum. You can get 3 different finishes, polished. This is a satin finish. They've got a really nice looking black finish that you can get as well if you want a little bit more of a stock type look.
It certainly is a nice piece. Looks like it's all TIG welded. Electric fan already installed.
Electric fan already installed. You can get a single or dual fan. We've got the single option on this and should be ready to go with it.
So 4 days ago, we rolled in with this 1952 Chevy pickup about 3 feet off the ground, 16-inch wheels, big old white walls, 6-cylinder engine. And now look what we got.
A yellow truck
With what?
with a brand new chassis,
Yep.
a brand new LS motor,
Yep.
4L70 trans,
9-inch rear end.
9-inch rear end, independent front suspension. It's been transformed.
I think we've come a long way in 4 days, and I'd say one more day left and we'll wrap it up.
Well, we started out this morning with a whole bunch more wiring. What else have we done today?
We've got the front clip on, trimmed a little bit around the wheel well to clear the steering, but that was easy.
Yeah, a little slicing and dicing, but everything went in.
The guys from Speedway installed the bed today, so that's on there for the final time. I think they wired the tail lights, a couple of heater hoses, AC hoses, done up top.
Hoses and tidy up the wiring and get a drive shaft in, and we're about done.
Put this thing up on the lift after I install the low car shifter tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Finish up underneath. Maybe sometime tomorrow night we'll fire this thing up and drive it around. So this Week to Wicked, along with the other 2 Week to Wickeds, happened right here in Tim's facility. It's called our Tech Center. 16, 17 years ago, I started with the company, and I literally started in about a 400 square foot stall with 1 2-post lift and a dyno, and everything kind of took place in that little area for the magazine. Since then, I've moved to 3 or 4 different buildings, each time kind of upgrading to size, upgrading tools. And today we're in a 10,000 square foot building with a dirty room, a photo studio, and all the tools we need to do any of our builds. We do take our job seriously and get our edit out, but we like to have fun.
Wait, there's no brakes!
Well, how do you feel? It's day 5, last day.
Last day, I got to get that air raid intake on, low car shifter in.
Yep, I got to finish up some wiring. That painless harness is just about done. Got to plug it into the performance automatic tranny computer and hook that up to the GM ECU for the motor. And this thing should be firing by the end of the day. I think the guys at Speedway will be pretty pleased.
I think so too. I think they got to get on the front bumper for sure.
Yeah, they got a couple things going. I know they were going to wire up the headlights and stuff, sort out the bed mounting situation and the running boards. I think they got a pretty good handle on that yesterday. They just got a couple things to tidy up and get this thing on the ground, get those Rocket Racing wheels on all mounted up, and see how she sits.
So for this build, for our Speedway pickup, we chose the Rocket Booster, which is a kind of a classic 5-spoke design. These are available in 17, 18, and 20-inch diameters. We chose an 18x7 and an 18x8 for our truck. And it's just really a clean design that kind of blends a little bit of a classic 5-spoke appearance with a little bit of contemporary flair. Really crosses the line there.
It's a really good looking wheel. What is the color we got on this?
This is what they call cast gray, so it's kind of made to look like an as-cast, like a vintage aluminum Magmite. They've got a chrome version of this wheel as well as a kind of a darker gray. They call it Hypershock gray.
This one's also got like a polished lip or kind of a...
Yeah, gives it a little bit of contrast between the spoke and the lip, which gives the wheel kind of a nice appearance as well.
And like you said, you can get them in different diameters and widths. I'm sure you can get them in different lug patterns too.
Exactly, yep.
It's perfect. Well, I can't wait to see these on the truck.
Yeah, me too.
We're gonna clamp it up just real fast now. I'll go back and clean up all the clamps, make sure everything's at the same angle. Okay. There we go. Okay, pull that off. It's the end of day 5 and you're already sitting down.
Well, I'm sitting down because I need a little break, and I think we're done. I feel pretty good about what we've got accomplished today.
No, we certainly got a lot of stuff done, wrapped up, got the fluids all in, rebled the brakes, got the bottom radiator hose done, had it up on the lift. I think you did the exhaust.
We did the exhaust together, like a good little team. Christian helped out with that a lot too. A little bit of wiring was left to wrap up. We did that.
Linkage on the shifter.
On the shifter, the low car
Wrap that
shifter's
up.
all hooked up. Tranny's shifting through all the gears like it should. Yeah, man, we got oil in this thing. We got tranny fluid. We got rear end oil. We got water and antifreeze in the radiator. I think this thing's about ready to fire up.
Christian!
Why don't you get in there and fire this thing up? Turn the key on and just make sure you got 12 volts. And let's make sure the fuel pump cycles.
Turn it over.
Okay. Fire it up. You got oil pressure? Give it a little gas.
Come on, crank it up, dude.
All right, that's cool.
Woohoo!
Well, I don't know, man. 5 days. It's pretty much wrapped up. We got good oil pressure. The thing fires and runs, and
I'm
looks
happy.
like it should. We say we call it a night and come in first thing in the morning and maybe take this thing around the block.
I could use some sleep.
Cool.
Do 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 do.
Well, we ran out of time last night, but the sun is out. This thing is running like a top. Let's do this.
See what it's got. In all honesty, I was excited to drive the truck. We accomplished something pretty big in my eyes in 5 days, and you know, being able for the first time to take a truck out, it's always a little nerve-wracking, exciting. You don't know really what to expect. And, you know, my intentions are everything's gonna be fine, but you never know. So, you know, the truck handled great. It started right up. It drove like I thought it would. So in my eyes, it was a success, and I was pretty happy about it.
Yeah, you get in something that's been on the road for however long that truck's been together, and you don't hesitate to just jump in it and goof around and have fun. But when you've built something like we did in 5 days, and then you hop in it, you're listening to every little creak and rattle and everything, so you're a little more attentive to what's going on. They call it a shakedown run and breaking in for a reason, because you're gonna shake things loose and break something, and you pull it back in, you fix it, and you move on, and then a couple of those cycles and you're good to go.
When Friday came along, we were 95% finished up with the truck. The Speedway guys had to catch a plane to get back to Nebraska. So by that night we were wrapped up. Speedway guys I know were watching online or Facebook Live, and I saw Damon, you know, he gave us a compliment, was super happy that we had finished like we said we would, and I think they'll be happy to get the truck back there so they can start driving it around.
Yeah, I think at this point, people are kind of getting the idea behind what we're doing. First couple builds, it was like, oh, you're ruining a perfectly nice stock long bed 3/4 ton truck nobody wants, stuff like that. But with this truck, it was like, hey, cool, yeah, you guys are taking a restoration and, you know, turn it into a street rod, we get it. So I think we're finally kind of easing into that where people understand what we're trying to do. Yeah. We got a lot of good compliments on it at the Grand National Roadster Show and at our open house. People were pretty stoked on it. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel and we're not building an AMBR car or anything like that. We're just building a nice little street rod out of a stock car.
I think coming from a speed shop like Speedway, they are the oldest speed shop in America, and for them to come to us, they could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, to be a part of that history is a pretty
Sure.
big deal. I feel pretty special about that.
And it's probably the only car I'll ever build that'll be in a museum, so.
That's true.
That being said, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.